been a long time since I've done a vlog, and at this time of the year when it's so hot, I tend not to vlog as much because I have to turn the ceiling fan down so that you can hear me. But it's a very busy time of year for me at the moment. So I have Christmas carols, 2 lots of Christmas carols I'm singing in this year. And I have, I'm job hunting again at the moment, and I'm studying like it's furious pace with my art therapy course, and I'm having so much fun with that at the moment. I've just completed the drawing and painting modules and they were awesome. I love them. My next one is sculpting, and I haven't really done much with sculpting, so I'll be interested to see how that goes. I'm really enjoying, I'm just at the moment where I'm binding together a whole year's worth of journaling Krazy Island style lessons. But not only that, a couple of other pages that I've done, like our bonus, it's, you know, 1 year of Krazy Island family, some old pages that I had of faces that I had on mood boards, and some other bits and pieces that I've done for inspiration stick challenges and things like that. So I really I'm doing something different this year with that though, and this course will be also a standalone course on Krazy Island University. So this will be a leather bound course, but I'll be incorporating my fabric paper into the binding process to strengthen the overall journal, which is awesome, because what that does is when I stitch the fabric binding around the outside of my signatures, it adds a really strong fabric, kind of, I glue it into it. And anyway, if you're interested in loose leaf binding, and I also have a course up there that talks about single page loose leaf binding. So I show you a process for single page loose leaf binding, and I can do it double-sided or single-sided. It's better with single-sided, but it's a really good course for those of you that like to work loose leaf like I do, because I often find when you get your journals and they're nice and fat and you lie them down but they're still looking like that and you don't have a flat surface to work on, and particularly when you like using water media like I do, that becomes a big issue. You like to have your pages flat, use good paper. In fact, with a loose leaf journal you don't have to use as good paper, because particularly if you're putting acrylic paint on top or if you're collaging things down. So you can use a variety of different papers, and that gives you great flexibility in how you put your journals together. And you know, in this journal of all these signatures that I've got here, some of those have got wallpaper in them, some of them grid paper, some of them, most of them are Canson 300 GSM watercolor paper, and I had the A3 paper pad and I fold them in half. I won't be doing that next year. The reason I won't be doing that is because quite often my workspace gets messy, and I found that some of my pages were a little bit damaged because I might drag an already completed page into paint that I'm working for on the current page, whereas if I'm working on single-sided loose leaves, I don't care about that so much. At the end of the year when you go to bind these together, it takes a little bit longer with that method because you have to glue them together with a spine. Now that doesn't, if I'm only doing that once a year, I don't really care. I really don't. I really want my journals to be as solid and to be as flexible as possible, and I think the art creation experience that I do all year is more important than spending an extra little bit of time at the end of the year when I go to put those journal pages together. That said, I do use Delusions journals and Strathmore journals a lot in my other projects. So when I take classes, I tend to use those journals, and I may change that at some point in the future. I really might, but it's not something that I'm too worried about at the moment. I know I use little mini Strathboard journals for my sermon journal notes, and if you like my sermon journal notes, I might actually start filming every single one that I do. Often I do them on the fly when I'm out. So I recently did 3 pages in a row while I was on a camp conference, and I just sat on the back deck and I was looking out over a lake with these beautiful trees on this gorgeous deck, and I sat there and sketched and painted. That I'm not going to film. But I know that a lot of people are enjoying my sermon journal notes, and they enjoy it on my Missladypetal Creations page, and they also enjoy the rare ones that I actually pop onto my YouTube channel when I sit down and think about it. Often those sermon journal notes, they're much simpler. Sometimes they're not, sometimes they're a lot more intricate, and sometimes a lot of the doodling and artwork is actually done while I'm writing the notes. So it's one of those creative processes that's a little bit sketchy is probably the word I would use. But I'm having morning tea. But the other thing that I'm doing at the moment is I'm also putting together some of my most favourite lessons from journaling Krazy Island style, because if you really like the way that I teach, and when you see this on my YouTube channel, these are just stripped down versions of what I do. There's a couple of my really early lessons for Documented Life Project where I actually did full process videos, but the majority of my process videos now are on Krazy Island University, because when I'm teaching a long process video, I think you get a lot of value and it's worth paying for. So with my Mash It Up pages, and with my sermon journal note pages, and with my challenge pages, I do sped up versions where I talk over the top and you just get a basic, it's the same sort of thing, but it's a basic rundown, and I don't take, you know, I try and keep the majority of my YouTube videos to around the 15-minute mark, because most people don't want to watch anything longer than 15 minutes. Now I think if you really love a page that I've created, then it's worth paying the lesson to either recreate the page or creating something that's heavily inspired by the page. And my Journaling Krazy Island style lessons, I'm bundling up my 6 most popular lessons, and these are the sorts of lessons that, number 1, people want to buy prints from. Number 2, people have done multiple copies or multiple versions of my pages, which they just love. And most of my students have posted photos of the pages and told me and contacted me personally on the Facebook group for Journaling Krazy Island Style that it's awesome lesson and that they absolutely loved it. So I think those lessons are the ones that are really in depth. They're also lessons that if you really want to convert them from a page into a canvas, you really can. And you can get really great results from doing that. A lot of my art journal pages could, you know, sometimes I sell them as prints, but they could really be sold as canvases if I want to develop them into canvases. So I do that occasionally, and particularly when I'm doing classes and things like that, which I intend to do a little bit more this year. Something that I did recently on that conference that I went to was my first painting during worship, and that was an incredibly daunting experience, I can tell you, but it was very exciting and challenging and positive, and oh, I loved it. And I want to do more and more and more of this. I really am in that space of wanting to see what my art can say. There's a lot of people that see a lot of things in the art that I produce, and I really want to explore that further. And I find we decided to auction that painting off at the end, and it was a beautiful experience. There were lots of people that wanted it, lots of people that bid on it, and that's something that I'll never forget. And I didn't come home with a painting. It went. so but it was interesting to see what God was talking to me about when I was painting, while the music was swirling around me like a fine mist. It was just quite a surreal experience, and I absolutely loved it and want to do it again. And sometimes I find that that's hard because I sing as well, and I'm often up there singing. But I go to a couple of conferences and retreats every year, and I think that that would be important for me to now continue doing that more and more. And God's already showing me pictures and visions of future canvases, and I'm amazed at what I'm seeing. I am so grateful and thankful for that. It's such a privilege to paint, and you can tell that sometimes there's just no words. Yeah. And another thing that I'm hoping to do next year is teach the disabled. My art therapy I'm hoping to use for people with mental illness and in rehabilitation, whether it's domestic violence or drug and alcohol, that kind of thing. I'm looking to use my art therapy in trauma spaces, because that's what art therapy is really about. And I find that a lot of my students are going through those sorts of circumstances anyway, and they're currently using art journaling as a form of art therapy. And what I'm learning with my course is that my teachers are recognizing that I'm already doing it, that I'm already interpreting the paintings and drawings in line, and now I'm just learning the psychology behind it and learning techniques to encourage the expression of feelings and emotions and unconscious thoughts through art, and have that make it a healing experience. Because some people that come into art therapy don't have a natural inclination to art, but there's something that I'm looking also at doing next year, which is a feelings journal. And it's just a simple journal where you sit down and you paint and draw your feelings. And if you're going through trauma, you would do it daily to document how your journey is, because it is a very easy way to diarise how you're feeling and your journey and process through grief or whatever it is, anger, sadness, whatever you're going through, pain. But feelings are a really good way to document your life. So if I did a feelings journal once a week where I picked a day where I was feeling a certain thing, and you paint in that moment, then I have 52 pages of how my journey went throughout that year. Now this year would have been an interesting experience for me, and I haven't vlogged as much because a lot of the time I've been sad. I've been sad and grieving, and I don't necessarily want to share that with all of my subscribers. I consider this channel to be an uplifting and happy channel, and I really don't want to go down the path of airing out when I'm really sad and glum, because what I really want to do is inspire and encourage those of you that are feeling sad and glum to not to have an escape from that and not join you in it. So when I'm feeling like that, I don't tend to vlog, but I'm happy to talk to you about it. And as part of my journey, it's been interesting to see the beautiful caring comments and the engagement of the subscribers of this channel, and on my Facebook page and the numerous Facebook groups I'm in, because they have really supported me. All of you have really supported me this year. It's been hard, you know. I've lost a business and I've lost 2 jobs, and now I'm studying and hoping to just change course altogether, but still applying for jobs because it's important that I help feed and clothe my family. And I think that that is a really important thing. And so my Missladypetal business may take off with some contract work next year, which is kind of, you know, I haven't had time for that this year, but I've already got so many opportunities available to me that I think that it would be really, really important for me to pursue it. I mean, I don't want to live with regret. How many of us live with regret, and then we get into the later stages of our lives and then we think, I wish that I'd taken a risk earlier on. Well, I'm kind of at that crossroads here where I'm being forced to take a risk, and I think the universe is saying to me, I'm going to keep closing doors on you until you pick the right path. And that path is where all your doors are opening, not where you think they may open. And you need to be more sensitive to that whole process. So next year I'm looking at doing a lot more things in that space. And I'm also looking at, once I've become a qualified art therapist, at doing some work in that space with my students online, because I don't think everyone's in a space where they can access art therapy. And I'd like to be able to do art therapy for those of you that feel that you need that kind of help in your lives, but also to, you know, want to experience healing through art therapy. You just saw my husband in the background, because of course when I vlog I'm still in a house with 5 people. Although it's quiet because 2 of my teenagers who have just finished school and graduated, and that was an exciting thing, are still asleep in bed. And it's in the morning. And so you can hear the birds chirping outside, and it's just before it gets really, really hot today. But it's an exciting time. We're in the lead up to Christmas, and it's just feverishly busy here at the moment. Feverishly busy with everything, Christmas functions, end of year functions, people wanting to catch up, and heaps of things going on, and lots of appointments and lots of celebrations and end of year parties. And I'm just amazed at the amount of functions. And you know, I'm not in business now, so I don't have a lot of those kinds of functions on, but my goodness, I love it though. And we've decided to have Christmas at home, which is lovely. Not travelling, not going to travel this year, but still having a bunch of family around. And I'm just thinking about how my menu for that at the moment, and contacting everybody about what we're doing and how it's all rolling, and thinking about presents and doing Christmas shopping, and then just painting for presents, doing a whole bunch of things. It's all exciting, and I can't talk about it enough. I just love it. So look, what's happening for me now in this space, I've just talked a lot about it, but I'm focusing on completing art projects for this year. I'm also focusing on getting over 2015. 2015 has not been the best year for me. I started it with the brightest of hopes, and sometimes our year just doesn't turn out as much as what we'd like it to. And I just think that 2016 is going to be a much more interesting year. It could still be challenging, but it could be much, much more interesting. And I'm excited at the prospect of engaging with some qualifications and teaching again, and possibly even running art journaling classes and art therapy from my home, and setting up my home to be doing that. It's an exciting prospect, and I'm going to take you along on the journey with me. So we'll see whether I feel like I've got the time to have another vlog and a coffee with you before the end of the year. But if I don't, have a beautiful and safe Thanksgiving to those of you, of my friends that live in the States. I honestly think that that should be a worldwide tradition. It is such a beautiful tradition, and we like to celebrate it in our household as well. But have a warm, happy and safe Christmas. For those of you where it's snowing, yay you. It's stinking hot over here, and I think we're going to be in air conditioning for Christmas, having prawns, or shrimp as you call it in the States, and lots of cool drinks and ice. So ciao from me, from Missladypetal, possibly for the end of this year, but if I can vlog again I will, especially if I've got, I might even be able to upload some video footage of Christmas carols again, where I'm actually mic'd this year, because last year my mic broke at the last minute. They put a new mic on me and then they forgot to set the levels and the volume for it, so I essentially sat there miming. Sounded great in the foldback, but it didn't sound great in the out in the crowd. So this year I'll get my husband to video some more again, and we'll see how we go. Ciao for now from Missladypetal, and learn something new today. It keeps you young.